I'm out here trying to find something to do.
1028. It does. I saw you not stop at the stop sign.
Stop sign. No, you're not going to tell me that because
I
stopped. I stopped because my baby was crying, and then when I proceeded, I kept going. You was coming up over the hill. You wasn't even behind me, nor was you at the stop sign.
Got him.
Robert Mary X-ray 4054. RMX 4054.
Got him.
Come up here with that bullshit.
Okay.
Pull up the camera.
So what's going to happen is you're going to get a citation if you get your license. If I don't get your license, you're going to go to jail, okay?
Oh, whatever.
And then you can go to court and fight that. This is not court house, okay?
Bring your lieutenant, like you said.
He's coming.
Okay, and I'll see him and I'll wait for him.
Okay. Well, make sure you stay out here. Don't go inside the house.
I can go inside the house.
You're not free to go right now, ma'am. You're not free to go because I just stopped you. You see my blue lights. You see an officer, and I'm telling you, you cannot go inside.
I've been going inside.
No.
I've been going inside.
And after I told you not to go inside. So you're not free to go, ma'am, okay? Understand that.
How can I be free to go when you're behind me? Now you're behind me.
I'm right here.
Now you're behind me.
I was here before you got out of the car, and I told you to get back in the car, and you refused to do that.
And as you can see, I got things to do.
Okay. And right now you're not free to go, so stay out here.
Of course I can't go. You're behind me now.
I need your license.
You're behind me
I need your license.
I'm waiting till your lieutenant get here. I can do that.
Okay. And I need your license.
You don't run nothing in this yard.
Okay.
Okay, confirming you don't see me now. Got police patrol 35, about I think it's 23, and patrol 1 at 1039. Clear, thank you.
Well, she's not going to stay out here.
Clear, thank you. 330, clear. Alright, thank you.
What's going on?
I started to grab her, but she had a baby, and she went and grabbed the baby. She went inside of the house. Said that, so I'm coming up Garden Drive. I see the car just fell stuff at the stop sign. And then so I turn around, turn my lights on. She pulls in here, turn my lights on, tell you, like in the car, she's like, I ain't doing this and this and this. You didn't see me do this. And she gets around, gets a kid.
They're still working on rights by Jim Crow.
Here we are.
I'm holding a dispute in progress in 7 and a verbal domestic.
Is this her?
Yes, me. So I'm coming here.
Okay.
He's coming up.
Patrol 28.
Okay. He's coming up the hill. He's not even behind me. My baby in the car. She cried. I stopped at the stop sign. I didn't even see. We wasn't even face to face at the four-way right here.
Ma'am, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Because
hold on one second.
Because I
29 4th Street, 28th Street, 29 4th Street. College needing to get things out of a residence.
Just to give him your license.
Because I'm not getting no citation.
Well, he might have not have gave you a citation.
He told me I was getting one.
Well, if you acted like you're acting right now.
Because I'm pissed off. Why would you? We're not even face to face at the stop sign. You're not even behind me. How can you tell?
Let me tell you what happened. You can talk to her.
Of course, anybody would be upset.
Come on.
Anybody would
Watch
be
your
upset.
step. No, not necessarily. If he
Yes.
said, listen.
Especially when.
Hold on a second. You're getting too upset.
I see the car run the stop sign. I almost went inside. So turn around, turn the blue lights on, come back here.
Listen, we patrol this area. We get complaints all the time on these stops.
And we've been living here for years.
Okay, I understand.
We weren't even face to face. I'm just telling you.
It don't matter.
So how can you tell me I did not stop when I know plain as day I stopped? My baby in the car, she making noises. I stopped.
It's okay.
As soon as he wasn't even at the four-way with me. As soon as I'm moving, that's when I see him come to the stop sign.
That's why we got court if you want to fight. But
I'm
listen,
not getting no citation.
Well, ma'am, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You're making it worse on yourself than it is. He has asked you for your license. He has the right because you was on the roadway. He has a right to do that because it's a state law. Ma'am, it don't matter. If he stops you, he has a right to get your license from you. And if you don't, he can charge you.
I still don't have a license. I still have a license.
Listen, you're making things way bigger than what...
I give you my license, but he wasn't about to do that, period.
Okay.
Behind the door was at the doorway together. Like, what sense did that make?
She's going to give you a license.
Here's a supervisor if you want to talk to him.
I've been talking to somebody.
Oh, just get the license.
Because we're not about to do this. You're not going to do that with me. I don't care who this is. You don't want nothing, and it's yours.
Come over here. You're making things way worse than what they have to be.
Because he made things way worse where he stopped me.
He has a right to stop you, ma'am, if he believes that you conducted some type of traffic violation.
How could he think that? When we was not at the four-way together, nor was he behind me. He was coming over the hill when I proceeded to go.
Okay.
86, 1042.
That's what I'm telling you.
Well, why are you not in court?
Yeah,
I don't know if he's gotten you a ticket or not.
Why do I have to go out of my way for somebody who did an illegal stop? Why? I shouldn't have to.
Well, what he described to me, he's like, I wasn't here, so I don't know exactly what happened. We wasn't here.
He couldn't even explain it to me. I'm explaining it to him. So what did he say?
Well, he observed you going through the four-way, not stopping at the stop sign.
When he's not even
He admitted to me that he was not sitting at the stop sign. He was approaching it.
So how can he tell you I didn't stop and he don't even see my brake lights? How can he tell you I'm proceeding to go?
But you can see if a car's moving or not if it comes to a complete stop. He don't have to see that.
But my car was stopped. That's what I'm saying. How can you say that and you just wasn't for sure? You didn't. You coming up on the hill. I'm already at the stop sign, getting ready to go.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that is crazy.
But here's the thing. Needless to... All this nonsense could have been avoided.
Yes, it is, but it is.
All
But
you had
I'm
to
just
do.
saying that's crazy. You're not gonna do that.
Listen, he is one of the nicest officers out there.
I hate it. He's not being nice now by telling me that I didn't stop at a stop sign that he can't really for sure say I didn't do when I know I did. You think I would be this upset if I know I didn't? We was not even together. You think I would have ran through a stop sign? I seen the grill of the car. I seen it. So why wouldn't I stop?
Huh?
He should... It's always when it seems like somebody looking for something, they're just gonna find something. Well, that's how I feel.
I got obstruction on it.
you understand what he's saying? Obstruction charge.
You know what I told you? I asked you for your license to say you weren't going to give me one, right? I told you this is illegal.
Do what you have to do. I don't care.
You're going to be placed under arrest for obstruction and you're going to get a citation for the plot fine.
Okay.
All you had to do was give me your license.
Well, fine. Do what you have to do.
I'm going to call you back.
I'm going to turn my car off. I'm going to do what I need to do.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. You're not.
Ma'am, don't make it no worse.
Let me turn it off. You want me to turn it off?
You need to understand that you're still not following the directions here. And you turn around and put your hands behind your back.
Do what you have to do. Can you check?
You're going to be placed under arrest for obstruction and you're going to get...
Because he's saying that I had an obstruction charge because I'm in the...
Stop moving around. Stop moving around.
Ma'am.
You're doing the most.
You're moving now, so I'm telling you to stop moving.
Ma'am, just...
Put the cup on my hand. It's not that hard.
Well, you see, stop moving, I can do that. Stop moving, man.
Just
Look.
just twist it on my...
Because he's doing the most. Let my hand go, first of all.
I'm trying to put the handcuff on you, ma'am.
Ma'am, just don't do another obstruction charge. Ma'am.
Get your hand off my hand.
Ma'am, you don't...
I know what to do. I know what to do with my... Don't
Jazmin, put your hand... Jazmin, well, put it back there.
Put your hand behind your back.
Wait,
Stop resisting, ma'am. Wait, she stopped resisting?
No.
Okay. Stop moving.
Get off
Ma'am,
me.
unfortunately, you're going to have to ride with me, okay? So stop resisting and get in the car.
You don't have to be rough. She's a woman.
If she would just do what we asked...
No.
She knows what she was doing.
Ma'am.
You do not have to jake me up like that.
I need to make sure the handcuffs. I need to make sure the handcuffs
The
are.
handcuffs is
I
on.
need to double lock them, ma'am.
Doing too much extra stuff. You don't even have to do all of that.
I do, ma'am.
No, you don't.
Get in the car. Okay, so on the 1095 one, female.
Stop fast. Close the door.
Don't put your seatbelt on. You understand why you're under arrest?
I heard what you said the first time. Stop talking to me.
Stop moving. Do you want them to turn your car off?
Look.
You want them to have the keys, or you want to take the keys with you?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
So you want them to have the keys, correct?
My car is in the yard where it needs to be.
I know you want them to have it,
Can you
correct?
stop talking to me?
Okay. Do you want us to let them have the car, or do we need to tow it? You want them to have
you touch that car, why is it my granddad's yard? That's going to be
all
on
you.
you.
Have to say, yes, I want them to have my car.
I told you to stop talking to me because my shit is in the yard where it need to be. There, turn it off.
Okay. So you want them to have it, okay.
All right.
I saw you have it. Okay, yeah, go on. I'm shot!
I've been to many scenes of officer-involved shootings in my career.
Where is he? Get my gun! No!
I have never seen anything like this, ever.
In the afternoon on September 7th, 2024, Corporal Ty Simcox from the Colorado State Patrol pulled in between two barriers on the median of US 36, just outside of Denver. According to news reports, this was a known safe spot for State Patrol to park. Simcox pulled into the spot to do paperwork. However, it wouldn't take long for this uneventful task to abruptly turn deadly. With no time to react, Simcox was shot at by the driver of this slow-moving truck. One bullet hits the dash camera, disabling it. A bullet also strikes Simcox in his right forearm. Reports indicate that the first shots fired came through the back passenger side behind the officer's point of view. Looking closely, you can see the bullet exit through the seat towards the officer as the shooter drives by. Having been effectively ambushed, Simcox was not able to turn his body camera on right away. Acting quickly, Simcox calls for backup, wields his pistol, and swings behind his F-150 patrol truck for cover.
Oh, who was that? Was that Ty?
This officer, Norman Aragon, quickly responds to Simcox's emergency situation.
Last week, we put up the sinister episode of Lori Vallow on Friday, and YouTube did not like it. We tried all day to get it back up, but come the weekend, I was just like, everybody take the weekend off. Let's come back to it Monday. So that episode should be up tomorrow? Whatever, after this one comes out. But this one's coming out first because it's a little bit more recent. This past week, Colby Ryan, who is a podcaster and also happens to be the son of Lori Vallow, put out an interview with his mom this week. Before we dive into this, I need to give you a couple of just thoughts, warnings, different things. I'm literally just coming off of the back of diving into this case for dozens of hours, and we all want to hate Lori Vallow because of the headlines that we've heard for the past couple of years. She's a child killer. Not only is she a child killer, she's a mother that killed her children. But after just combing through all of these documents, all of the research, when we put that case together for Sinister, I have one point that I want to stand very firmly on, and two things can be true at once. Lori Vallow is extremely sick. She is extremely unwell. She has one of the most serious, religious delusions that I've ever seen. So I just want to be very clear. I know that it's easier to consume this if you're like, well, she was born a piece of shit and she died a piece of shit. But even down to an interview that Colby just put out today, for the longest time, his mother has a very serious history of delusion. She loved anything about the end of days. She had an obsession with death before she actually even met Chad Daybell. She had some kind of extreme interest in it. She would sometimes dive into different books and media and think that they were real. She was obsessed with Twilight. She wanted the world of Twilight to be real, and she thought that she saw it all around her. You guys have to understand that Lori Vallow is extremely delusional. But also, in this newest interview with Colby that just came out today, he mentions a lot about his mom having a history of being very narcissistically abusive. I thought this was really interesting. In his podcast, which we'll link below, it's the most recent episode that he sat down with a guy named Dr. John. He describes from a very early age that with his mother, Lori, he couldn't talk to her about anything. She would always freak out and just blow everything out of proportion. He always felt like he needed to be happy. and that she often kind of inadvertently made him feel like a burden. And these are just hallmark signs of what happens to a kid when they're dealing with some kind of narc parent. But, you know, for the sake of this, the last thing that I want to call out, while we watch this video, it is on Colby's channel. It is Colby talking to his mom. Yes, do we dislike Lori Vallow? Sure, why not? Of course. She's done something horrible that she can never take back. But I want to remind you guys while you're watching this that Colby has lost his sister, he has lost his brother, and also he has lost his mom and the image that he once knew of his mom. And there are probably going to be some parts where he's very angry in this, but also some parts of him where maybe he wants his mom back, because I would feel that way. So I just want you to keep that in mind as you're watching it. Are those decent disclaimers? Are we okay?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm trying to keep it going.
Yeah, no, you sound good to me. I don't know if you can hear me very well.
Also, I want to warn you guys, throughout this video, I might interject a few things that I learned when we went through the whole Sinister case, but you'll hear more in that full video when it comes out. But I also just want to warn you, in this video, Lori sounds like mom. She sounds kind of sweet. She's actually about to say one of the most f***ed up things that I've ever heard in this entire case, and it comes in a little bit later. I just want to prepare you for that.
How are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm better now, if I'm being honest with you. It's taken a long process to work through all this stuff. It's been a lot of years, but I've definitely found my strength. So I think that's where I'm at right now.
Well, yeah. I know you've got to be busy with kids and everything, so that your life moves fast when you have little kids and you're doing your life. So, I didn't want any of this for you, as you know.
Yeah.
You told me that Tylee had come to you in a dream.
Right.
And you never told me what she said or what her message was to you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I always wanted to ask you privately, right? Like me and you, like.
That to me just rings still as Lori being super delusional, because she's like, what was the message? What was it? What was said?
I don't remember. If I'm being honest with you, I don't really know if I believe in the visiting of ancestors anymore. I don't really, like, people who are in your family. I don't think that's something that I've ever seen biblically, where, like, you really get visitors from your family on behalf of Christ. I've dreamed a lot of things, if that's what you're asking. I've dreamed a lot of things about you, and I dreamed a lot of things about my family, but I've never fully dreamed. I can't remember exactly what you're referring to, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay, yeah, but you called me, and so you knew something wasn't right, and you were questioning me, and you were asking, but this is before you knew anything, and you had had a dream with Tylee. I'm not saying she actually visited you, but you had had some kind of dream that had upset you, and I wondered, because she had passed away, if she had actually visited you and told you something, because she visited me and told me plenty of things. And
she means that.
Told me was, I'm sorry, Mom, for being such a brat. That's the first things that she told me.
Oh my God, this is gonna be hard. If you don't understand the context as to why that is so awful, Lori Vallow killed her child, Tylee, because she thought that she was full of dark energy, and her on the phone in such a jovial tone saying that her deceased daughter came to her, Lord, give me strength, and said sorry for being a brat, Mom, is just crazy. It's crazy.
And it was so dialing, and it was so her. So I just wondered if she had said
That's
something
gonna piss him off. He's gonna get triggered.
I just always have wondered.
Understandably.
I never asked you at the time.
Oh, yep, there it is.
What your dream was. You just had told me that you had had a dream and that she had come to you, so I wondered.
Yeah, I don't really remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was something that... And I totally appreciate what you believe or don't believe or whatever. You know what I believe, so it's not a big secret.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you know from when you knew me, not what you know from what police have told you or other people have told you, but what you actually know from me, personally. Which, that's the only other thing I wanted to ask you about, because you remember our drive to Reno, just me and you, right?
Mm-hmm. And I remember you telling me some really out there stuff. I trusted you as my mom. I tried to give you the room to share with what you thought and felt. But as years went by, I had to do my own research on the things, and I remember thinking, when you did that and said that, I remember thinking, that's just not right in my spirit. And everybody's entitled to believe what they want, but I'm telling you, for me personally, that in no way, shape, or form do I believe that anybody's ever lived a different life. I think once you're gone, you go to heaven or wherever the Lord puts you, and that is my true conviction.
I honor and respect what everyone else believes. They can believe whatever they want to believe, right? Like,
but don't you think that's dangerous to believe anything and just kind of have your own basis of belief rather than something that's based in truth and what the Bible says?
Delusions feel good to people that don't feel good about themselves or their lives. That is what a delusion is. It is a thing that's not really based in reality, but somebody wants to believe it because it feels good in some capacity. And that's another reason why I think that Lori is never going to let go of this religious, spiritual demon narrative, because if this delusion goes away, if it's addressed, if it's cracked, if it dies, then she will have to accept that she is a child killer. But she instead prefers to stay in the delusion that she did this for a reason and she had a mission and God will understand, because that makes her feel better than this over here. When Lori first went to court for the deaths of her children, they actually said that she was not mentally stable enough to go to trial. They said she was unfit for trial the first time. After a couple weeks, they, talked to her a little, get her on meds. Their goal is to get her to a place where she can stand for trial. But they actually assessed her and they were like, holy shit, like she's far gone. And people tried to plead that all the time. Carly Gregg tried to plead that. We just saw that in a case recently. People always try to fake that they're unwell, but they really looked at Lori when she came in. They said, we need some time here.
You said Tylee's been visiting you, so I want to. There's a lot of things I want to go through, but you said Tylee visited you and spoke to you.
And the grief is visiting you, Lori.
I heard this in your
grief.
statement. In the Bible, there's that moment. I think it's in John 5 where Jesus casts out the demons, and he gets rid of them, and then the man is back to normal. You said that there was a reference to the chosen, and I wanted to hear what you said because it cut out. So what do you believe in when it comes to the zombie idea?
Yes, I would love to address this because I have never said the word my personal. This has gone out of control. India, whoever made up this whole zombie thing, and escalated what my basic belief was. I, Lori, have gone through my whole entire discovery, and there's not one thing. Do you know if you do a search and you do the word zombie in the search in my discovery, do you know the only thing that comes up is when JJ was ordering those little zombie babies from Minecraft.
That's not true, because there were text messages when Lori was texting Chad and she would refer to them as Z's. What are we going to do about the Z's? Something, the Z's. Like, you think if she said the Z, she didn't mean zombie? For context here, like I said, Sinister will be back this week. We'll go through everything. But just to give you a little context, Chad Daybell had given her this theory that people that were bad were actually zombies. And it didn't matter if you killed them or not. But in order for them to go to heaven, you had to kill their bodies so that their spirit could be released. Lori and Chad were convinced that the children were not actually Lori's children. They were zombies. We'll get to this in the whole Sinister, but personally, my entire take on the Lori Vallow case is that she's a highly delusional woman that uses almost narcissistic defense mechanisms to protect her ego and her delusions.
Star.
But Chad Daybell is, we'll get into him. He is a crazy person that manipulated Lori. And then after that, do you know why all of this happened? I'm going to tell you right now. Because they were having an affair and they wanted to have sex. Okay? It was all just it was a giant affair that was wrapped up in delusion and religion. And we'll get there in the Sinister. But the religion stuff, it's really just the glue. It's not even what this is all about. Oh.
I wanted to give you the floor to really say your piece, and since we're cutting out so much, maybe it's just a good time. You told me one day you'd want to say it in our last phone call. You said that you wanted to tell me what has happened, so I'm gonna just give you the floor real quick.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, brace yourself.
I want to go ahead and I think you know what I'm referring to.
I know what she's about to say.
What really happened then with my brother and my sister and this whole thing. And I know that we could talk about my dad, but I'm assuming that that's because of your case is a little not for right now. We can always follow up on that at some point.
This is why I said in the beginning that I truly, genuinely believe that Lori is extremely delusional and she has a long history of delusion. But this is the part where the ego and the lying and the consciousness come in, because this is crazy. This part, this isn't a delusion. This is a lie.
Well, it's obviously different than what everyone else thinks, and I don't know that if you knew the truth of what really actually happened, if you would want it to be in public forum. When I talk to you personally, I know that you are the only person on this planet, to me, who loved Kylie and JJ as much as I do. The only person. So in all of my 4 years or 5 years of going through this, because, it's been 5 years now, I have asked every one of my attorneys, how can you help me to talk to Colby in a way that I can let him know
that I can manipulate him?
Because he's the only person on this planet, not my mom, not my sister, not anybody else. Colby is the only person on this planet who loved JJ and Tylee like I did.
That to me is very intentionally and consciously manipulative. Somebody can be both, okay? Somebody can be completely delusional and, whatever, and then somebody can be a total liar and a sociopath. Not literally, sorry to throw that word around. But, the underlying thread is mental illness.
I don't know that after you know what actually happened, if you would want that to be public.
Before she says this, I've never thought about this before, but Jen Maroney just said this in chat. Jen said she would have killed him too if he was in her way. That is one of the most horrifying parts of it all, I think, because if you know how many people died in the Lori Vallow case, it was anybody who was in the way of them being together. And Colby was old enough that he didn't live in the house. That could be something he's grappling with. That's a really terrifying and sad thought. Like, if I was in the way, would I be here? He's really tough for having this conversation with his mom. And also, I'm sure he's probably thought of that angle before and still choosing to have a connection with her to try to figure this all out. Hey, that's tough. Wouldn't be me. Couldn't do it.
You said no one was murdered. That was your biggest statement. You said not one single person was murdered. That everybody, you said there were suicides and deaths, accidental deaths, and you said that there was drug overdoses. That no one was murdered. So that's what I'm going to ask you then. If you were willing to say it in your statement, then I'm asking you to say it to me. If you don't want to go into detail, that's your decision. But that's what I'm asking you today.
You are the only person that deserves to know the truth. Also, I can't tell the story of what happened to Tylee and JJ without telling Tylee's life. And I don't necessarily want to tell that to the public, but you know it. You are the only person who lived it with me and her.
She's trying to trash Tylee and just say she wasn't a good kid. Personally, I would throw that right out the window because first of all, she was a teenager. And second of all, the videos that I have of Tylee that are stuck in my head are the ones where she was very protective of JJ, her brother, who was autistic. And also, I don't know if you guys know this, JJ Vallow was actually adopted. He was Charles Vallow, her fourth husband's adopted nephew. And Lori and Charles adopted him into the family. So Tylee and JJ were blood related, but they would be more like cousins, second cousins, something like that. But Tylee literally loved him like it was her little brother. It was her little brother. And so the images I have of Tylee in my head are, I'm sure you guys have seen those videos where she's like, no, he's mine. Or she's very cuddly and protective of him. And what Lori is trying to say in this video is that Tylee was a bad person. Tylee was not a bad person. She was a teenage girl. She was just a teenage girl.
You were the ones there where she was crying and screaming and throwing things at walls because they were forcing her to go to jail. You saw all of her moods. You knew how she was having depression and anxiety.
Oh, that's fine.
And you that's fine. Even coming over to mentor her.
That's fine. Doesn't mean kill her. It doesn't mean that there's any justification for that. It sounds like a normal teenage girl. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was the one that was like, hey guys, let's be respectful. But you know because you were there and you were there with terrifying.
You were there with Tylee and and I didn't want to write it out like that. I didn't want to just say, oh, this is what happened. I wanted to talk to you and answer your questions so I can tell you everything that actually happened. And if you have a question of something, well, the police said this, then I have an answer for that. That is not what they weren't there and they don't know. So I wanted to talk to you so I could hear your questions and answer your questions because you are the only person besides me on this whole earth who really loved both of them the way that I did. And so
I need you to imagine this is reality. We're here, okay? Lori is over here in Delulu land, okay? these bubbles do not cross over, okay? And so often when we're dealing with somebody that's in a delusion, we try to pull their bubble into ours, and it's very exhausting to try to talk down a delusion and pull somebody into earth, right? And so you can travel over and meet them in their bubble. It's crazy over there, and normally that's kind of the reality to delusion pipeline, right? But in this case, what I think is happening is here we are in reality. Lori's over here in Delulu land, but she has armed guards with just narcissistic manipulation tactics. It's like the delusion is surrounded by narcissistic abuse, and it's protecting the delusion at all costs. So Lori's is protected by some other old skill she has. Anyways, that's just my take, my read on it. Do with it what you will.
Do you want me to say what I've seen?
Sure.
So it's gonna be heavy. So I hope you're ready for this. They found my little brother in a bag, tied up, buried. And then they found remnants of my sister. Remnants, not even a person anymore.
I don't know if you know this. Tylee was found in Chad's backyard in the pet cemetery, and she had been dismembered. Not only did they most likely kill her on the Yellowstone Park trip, and then put her body back in the car while JJ was probably in the car, but then they took her to Chad's property, and that's what they did with her body.
Can you imagine why that is? Do you have any reason to think that would happen?
No.
So, did you know Tylee's desire of wanting to be cremated?
That was your version of cremated.